we're doing something new. As you can see, we are doing something new. So hopefully this is working. And you guys got a countdown tonight and you got a reminder. And I'm hoping that that helps you to remember to join me right now. And I am just trying to figure out how to see this. Okay, let me see. I didn't turn down my volume. So I'm going to see. I'm going to see. Okay, hold on a second. Sorry, guys. Okay, there we go. All right. All right, we got it. Awesome. Hi, everybody. We're using a different platform today. I'm experimenting. I am experimenting. What's the weird thing, the new thing across the screen? That's my name right there. And so that way you guys know who I am, in case any of you don't know who I am. So yeah, for anyone who's new, I'm Shari Criso. I'm a registered nurse. I'm a certified nurse midwife. I'm an international board certified lactation consultant. I'm your friend. I'm a mom. I'm a wife. I've done a lot. I've been doing this a long time, and I'm super excited to try something new with you. So there you go, Kate. That was your answer. Yeah, it takes about... Kate, can I ever make you happy, Kate? All right, so let me take that off here, okay? That's just so everybody knows who I am as they log in. There we go, okay? There you go. So it's gone. It's a little bit of a different platform. We're using something called Be Live tonight, and it gives me the opportunity to be able to pull up some of your comments as we're going along, some of your questions. We're going to have an awesome conversation tonight, and I am super excited. Yeah, hi everyone. It's so good to see you all. There's so many new people. It's so wonderful. Every time we tune in now, it's just like there's new people. And if you're new tonight, if you're new to our page and our community, I want you to go ahead and tell me you're new. Let me know that you're new here so we can properly welcome you. And we're just really excited to have you. There's a lot of new people joining up. So it's super exciting, super exciting. So yeah, I'm using a different platform. Monday night we were live with Jamie over on the Baby Guy NYC, and I was using my Blue Jeans account, which is great because I can use my video and I can use my pictures and screen and, you know, side by side. And oh, somebody's saying they see no video. You don't see me? Can you guys all see me? Let me know. Can you guys all see me? Because I think, Jillian's saying she can't see me, but that might be her. I want to know if you can't see me. And if you can, then go ahead and put some hearts across the screen and let me know. Just tell me that you can see me. I want to make sure it's working. Again, first time, first ever here. We did test it actually this week, and it was kind of fun. It was kind of an impromptu test, so I did it pretty quickly. But this is nice because I'm actually seeing I can see your comments coming up on the screen here. And you know, like I can do certain things that are kind of cool. Like for example, right here, Mallory. Hi, Mallory, saying she can see me. What do you think about that? Isn't that awesome? Okay, so I can pull you up and I can say, hey, here's your question. Let's answer it. And then I get to see you too because your picture shows up. So I thought that was pretty cool. Okay, so let me see. Hi, there we go. Okay, good. So that's some new stuff that we're gonna do. And did you guys all get a reminder? How did that work for you too? I need a little feedback here because of course I was testing it all for the first time. When you guys got the post tonight, earlier today, and then you clicked on reminder, did it actually give you a reminder like a few minutes before? What happened exactly? Did it give you a reminder? Did it just tell you to come in and then there was a countdown? Was that helpful for you to get that reminder? Do you like that? Because I think there's ways to do that, and even if I'm not using this platform. So I want to make sure that you guys really like reminders, because if that helps, I know I like reminders, so I'm assuming that you did. Okay, yeah, no, it only allowed the comments to pop up. Yeah, because I have to go live. Even when there's a reminder, what it's doing, I think it's bringing you in about a minute early, telling you that I'm there, and then you can come in, and there should be a countdown. So I don't know, did you see a countdown for like 60-second countdown, like that I'm coming? Yeah, that's usually what it should be there. So I need your feedback because I couldn't see what was happening on your end. But tonight we have a great episode. Okay, we did a fantastic Sunday Flash giveaway, which is something new I'm going to be doing here and there. I'm going to surprise you. That's the point of a flash giveaway. And we did one on Sunday night with our friends at Lalabu. As you can see, they're tonight's sponsor as well. And it was so successful because who doesn't want a Lalabu Sooth shirt or dad shirt? Apparently nobody. With all the comments that came in and all the beautiful heartfelt desires and talking about wanting one for your husband or your partner and just why you loved it. It was so fun to read, and I was happy that we were able to do that. And then I thought, hey, they don't even realize we're doing another one like just in a few days. So tonight you get your second opportunity to win one of the fabulous Soothe or Dad shirts tonight. Okay, so, and I'm gonna get very distracted reading all your comments because now they're flashing up on the screen here, and normally I'm like not paying attention. So if I get a little distracted by all your love, I can't help it. Okay, we still want tons of hearts going across the screen. I still got my cell phone, set up right here so I can see the hearts and I can see the thumbs up, but I like the hearts. So you can keep on going with the hearts. That keeps me talking and makes me not run out of steam. So lots and lots of hearts tonight. Let's see if we can pull up another, let's see. I'm gonna pull up another one here. This is from, okay, who posted that? This is Ashley. Ashley says, I can't get enough food now that I'm breastfeeding. I'm just doing that because it's so fun. Yeah, isn't it cool to be able to highlight you guys and bring up your comments? And we're gonna do just regular Q&As moving forward. Tonight though, I have a very special topic and I have a lot prepared for you. And so we're gonna do a little bit more than usual. It's going to be, I'm gonna be talking about food tonight. And we're not going to just talk about street food. This is not a nutrition class, okay? We are not going into nutrition. And we may do this at another time with a full class and, really do something like that. And we're going to be doing a lot more online classes as we move forward. And some of these live streams, I think what's great is to be able to test topics with you guys to see how many questions do you have? How much do you want to hear about this? If we do the live streams, if you love it, if you want to learn more, then what we'll do is probably start scheduling some private classes to have you sign up for and enroll and decide what you want to learn more about. And then we'll go into way more detail. You know me, it'll be workbooks, the whole thing. Okay, so anyway, so tonight is really just an overview of foods, the facts, the myths around food, and oh, my screen just got blurry. I want to make sure that I didn't lose some kind of focus here. Can you see me? Am I blurry?
Raise your hand for a lens.
Okay, yeah, that fixed it. Thank you, Joe. Joe's in the other room. Come say hi, Joe. Joe's not wearing the dad shirt tonight. He didn't get the dad shirt on, but he's still here.
I'm wearing the dad shirt, just not the...
Say hi.
Get scrunched up. Hey, everyone.
Joe. All right.
Got a couple newbies on it.
We do? Awesome. Yeah. Yay. New people.
They were thanking you. They're enjoying.
Oh, I'm so glad. Are you guys having so much fun with all these like great shows and all this content, all this education? This is what it's supposed to be about. Honestly, I feel like I'm on a roll here.
Yeah.
And I
got a question.
Mm-hmm.
So let us know how you found Shari and when you found her.
Oh, it's a good one.
Wondering before, because come from all different places. Some people watch a video, some people watch the show, some people
they got a pump, or they
met you at an event,
or in the store years ago. All different ways. Like we have people from all over the place, and they've met me and they've known me forever, or they just met me. And I'd love to know. I'm very curious to know, how did you meet me and when did you meet me? Or how did you find me and when did you find me? Okay, so go ahead and post those because it'll be interesting for us to see. All right, awesome. Oh, somebody just said she found me from my baby burping video a friend of mine shared. How awesome is that? That is awesome. That's a good friend. That was a good friend, Kara. Well, I'm happy you're here. We did get a lot of views on the burping video, and now the video on pumping. Everything's been, just kind of flying around. People really just want good information. And, for me, sometimes, of course we do these live streams to have tons of fun. Of course we do these live streams to do giveaways and fun products, because who doesn't like prizes and who doesn't like giveaways and all of that? But the real reason that I do this is so that I can transfer some of my knowledge to all of you, to make your lives easier, to answer the questions so that you can feel less stressed, so that you can feel more informed, so that you can feel more empowered in this journey that is parenting. And I know how difficult it is. And having worked with moms and babies for well over 25 years, I know how vulnerable of a time it is, not just through the pregnancy, but also through the entire postpartum period, breastfeeding, and throughout the first couple years. It's actually, it never stops. And then they get older and there's other things. But that initial time, you just feel so, like, I don't really know what to do. And it can make you feel scared that you may do the wrong things and really not learning how to trust your instincts. And if I can relay one thing through everything that I teach you, is to hopefully become more knowledgeable so that you can trust yourself, because what you know, you really do have inside of you. You really do know what to do for your baby. It's that question that comes up when you're thinking, I don't know if this is right. It's that question. That's the instinct right there kicking in. So hopefully I will give you that, I will help to empower that in you, and I will help to bring that out in you with good knowledge, because you need the knowledge in order to have that. So that's what we're doing here. All right. So awesome. So we need to get started because I have a lot to say, and I know you guys have a lot of questions and things that you want to hear about. So here's something cool. I'm going to try something again here. Oh, where is how do you do it? Where's the agenda? Oh, there it is. Okay, cool. All right. So here's the agenda, okay? Here's how it goes. Tonight's topic is food, facts, and myths. And you all know how much I love facts and myths, right? How much I love to talk about the myths about different things. And when we talk about facts and myths, we're going to talk about, not only pregnancy, but beyond. Like I said, beyond meaning, let's see. Someone just texted me. Okay, and then I lost my screen. Okay, there we go. Okay, so food, not just for pregnancy, but also beyond. That means postpartum. That means while you're breastfeeding. And it might even be talking about your baby as it comes up. So I'm going to start there, okay? The first topic that I want to talk about is foods to eat. So things that you want to include, things that will help you. And this kind of goes along with, what do you need to have the perfect diet? We talked about this so many times, especially in relation to breastfeeding, okay? Do you need to have the perfect diet in order to be healthy, to have the perfect milk while you're breastfeeding? And the truth is here, for both pregnancy and breastfeeding, no, your diet does not need to be perfect for your baby to be perfect, okay? You do not need to be perfect in order to make perfect milk, or to make the right amniotic fluid, or to build the components of what it takes to build your baby. Here's the deal though, when you're pregnant and you don't eat a good diet, or you're not taking the proper supplements, which we'll get into in a little bit later, what happens is your body will utilize whatever stores it has to give to the baby. So if you're not eating enough protein, it will break down your lean muscle to create that protein to build your baby. That's what you're building your baby with. And so your baby will be fine. It's you that will suffer. And I always say that because it's really important for you to keep your strength up, for you to stay healthy during your pregnancy. We want you to be healthy and to follow that through postpartum while you're breastfeeding. Yes, the milk will be perfect. Even if you're not perfect, it will use everything that you have. But you need it too. And so when we talk about, eating good foods and taking care of yourself, it's really more for you than it is for the baby. Okay. Now there are certain things that will help the baby too. And again, I will get into that. But one of the first things that comes to mind is protein. And protein is just one of those very important nutrients that you want to be making sure that you're getting enough of. And there is an increased need for protein while you're pregnant. And it's pretty high, like somewhere between 75 to 100 milligrams of grams of protein is a good amount of protein for pregnancy. Not only is your body utilizing it to break down all the components and the amino acids to build your baby's body, okay, but having enough protein will also help to eliminate risks for you, like high blood pressure, preeclampsia, preterm labor. It will help you to stay healthy throughout your pregnancy. And so getting enough protein is a very important component of it. And I think sometimes it's overlooked, and it doesn't have to all come from meat sources. Some of it should come from meat sources if you're not vegetarian. Some of it can come from fish sources, which we will talk about as well, which fishes and how much. And some of it, needs to come from other sources like nuts, great sources of protein, and beans and lentils. And so you can get your protein in different ways, but you want to make sure that you're getting enough. Awesome. Hi, Elizabeth. Oh my goodness. I'm so happy you're here. Hi, sweetheart. Mwah. Okay. So, so I think that protein's one of them. The other thing is obviously fresh fruits and vegetables, okay? And you want to make sure that you're getting a lot of fresh fruits and vegetables. The majority of your vitamin sources should be coming from fresh foods. So fresh fruits, fresh vegetables. We'll talk a little bit later about the idea of organic versus not organic, but it's really important to make sure you're eating the green leafy vegetables, that you're getting some of those into your diet, because it's going to give you those sources of vitamins that really food source is the best way to get it. One of the best fruits to eat, does anybody know what one of the best fruits that you can eat? It's actually not a, what kind of fruit is the best thing to eat while you're pregnant? What does it do for you? And if you know the answer to this, I want you to go ahead and post it here. But there's one that's in particular is a really good snack, and it's really, really good. And I'll give you a tip. Yes. Okay, good. So that's one of them. Avocado, absolutely. And there's one more, bananas. Okay. So the avocado, the bananas, have a lot of potassium in them, and you need the potassium during the pregnancy. So that's actually a really good thing for you to eat as a snack. And what's great about bananas is that you can throw them into your purse and you can take them with you. And it's a good source of potassium. Potassium is needed during pregnancy. It helps with your nervous system regulation. It helps to, especially if you're having any kind of cramping, leg cramps, Charlie horses, that kind of thing. Sometimes you do need a little bit more potassium. So bananas and avocados too. Yes. And Lalabu's in the house. That's Kelly from Lalabu. Hi, sweetheart. Mwah. Thank you again for doing this with us tonight. Everybody say hi to Kelly from Lalabu. She's here with us. I see her there. And give Lalabu lots of hearts. Look how much they're doing. And they're just such a wonderful company. I couldn't ask for better partners. So lots of hearts for Kelly here in Lalabu. Okay, so let's see. What else do we have here? The other thing is, what happens if you can't eat a lot? What if you're vomiting and you're nauseous? What if you're losing weight during the pregnancy? Is that a real problem? Again, like I said before, how could it be that nausea and vomiting is like normal in pregnancy in most cases, not when it's excessive, obviously, but morning sickness is a normal sign and actually a sign of a healthy pregnancy. Why does that happen? Isn't it interesting that, we want, of course, the first few months, the first few weeks of pregnancy, we want to be eating really well and taking care of our body, but it's the time when we feel the sickest. Why is that? And, when the thought is that when you're nauseous and that whole idea of not being able to eat because of nausea, it's a protective thing for the body because there's, before we had, clean ways of preparing food and before we had ways to cook our food, it actually was pretty dangerous to eat in those first few weeks a lot. And so it's just a way that we've evolved that through the nausea, we actually do have we eat less And we may even lose some weight. And the most important thing is to stay really hydrated, and yet you can still have a very healthy pregnancy even if you've lost a little weight. Normally that clears up by the first trimester, when it's over, and then you can usually make up for that in the second when you feel much better. So yeah, did anybody have a lot of morning sickness? Yeah, or all day sickness, as Kate's saying, all day sickness. Yeah, it's pretty normal, so think about it. If it's normal, there's usually a reason. The body's just like that, when something happens and it's normal and it's actually a healthy sign, typically there's a reason and how you can trace that back and why was it there in the first place. So if that gives you any kind, when you're feeling sick, you're like, who cares? But and when you are feeling sick like that, one of the best things you can do is whatever you can keep down is the best, and make sure that the water is really important. I'm trying to think here if there was anything that came up in some of the questions that you guys posted regarding this particular part. I'm going to post somebody's, I'm going to post somebody's comment here. No, wait, I did it wrong. Hold on. Okay, there we go. Teresa said, oh no, that was Kate. Sorry, Kate. Kate gained 15 pounds. That's what I put on the screen there. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to hit that. Okay. That's pretty funny. Oh, grapes. That sounds good. To try the lemons too. Yeah, those are some good suggestions. Excellent. Sorry, Kate. Okay. And let's go on to some, because, most of the questions that came in are the things of, what do I have to avoid? And I want to move on to what are some of the things that I need to avoid while I'm pregnant, and what are the myths about that and what's real. But let's get some hearts going across the screen again. Lots and lots of hearts going across the screen. Yes. Oh my goodness, look at all you guys. Awesome. Okay, so a couple of things to think about. Recently in the news, this was very cool because it was just this week, and I was just about to post this, and I'm going to post the study, because a new study came out talking about the whole idea of listeria. Listeria is a bacterial infection that's actually quite common. That, some people can get really sick from. It's sort of like a food poisoning. It comes from foodborne. It's a foodborne illness. But it typically, you think of it being a really bad symptoms, and sometimes it's very mild where you don't really notice that you have it, or some of the symptoms of listeria can be masked by similar symptoms of pregnancy, like nausea, vomiting, things like that. So, when you hear people talking about, to avoid soft cheeses, to avoid unpasteurized products, to avoid lunch meats or undercooked hot dogs. All those things are because of the risk of listeria in those foods. And, when we talk of soft cheeses, you guys know what soft cheeses are. I'm talking like brie, feta cheeses, gorgonzola cheese, soft cheeses, okay? When you're looking at all that, the thought has always been, and I know years ago, the thought was that listeria was a really big issue during the third trimester of pregnancy, that it could cause stillborn, it could cause a bad infection where you'd have a very negative outcome at the end of pregnancy. What they're finding now with the new studies that just came out is that listeria actually can have an even bigger impact early on in the pregnancy. And because of that, it can cause miscarriage and fetal loss. And you may not even be very symptomatic. So you could just not even know that was the reason that you may have contracted listeria. The symptoms were so mild, or they were so similar to your pregnancy that kind of made it unclear as to what was really happening, and it can cause miscarriage. So it's important when we talk about, staying away from those foods that can carry those issues, they can carry listeria, then yes. And somebody I know asked me in the chat earlier, or they left the question, does that count for lunch meats, all lunch meats? If you cook them, like well-cooked hot dogs, well-cooked lunch meats, you can go ahead and eat them, but I wouldn't do that like in a cafeteria line. I wouldn't just buy it out of the package and eat it. I would be cooking it. So if you want to cook it a little bit, should take care of the bacteria. But yeah, I would avoid that, especially early on in pregnancy. And if you think if you're trying to conceive, now here's something, okay? If you're trying to conceive, you never really know when that actually happens. You may be trying, you're not sure if you're pregnant or not. I would say the first trimester starts preconceptually. So it's the first 3 months, before the pregnancy that you actually want to start cutting out all the things that you would normally do during pregnancy, which are all these foods to avoid, limiting, mercury, all those things that we're talking about, starting to take your prenatal vitamins and folic acid, which again, we'll get to. But start that early on, because it's in those first 3 months before the pregnancy that you're setting up your body for the healthiest possible, to be the healthiest vessel that you can be for this new life. And then if you do become pregnant and you didn't know it yet, you're already ahead of the game. You've already cut out all those things. You don't have to worry. And that being said, lots of people get pregnant without planning. So lots of people get pregnant, because they've been drinking. Lots of people get pregnant when they were not thinking about it at all, and those babies are fine too. So it can go either way. But if you have the foresight and you are trying, then yeah, you want to try to cut some of that out. All right. And what else came in? Oh, sushi. Let's talk about sushi for a minute. Everybody loves their sushi, right? Is that really a myth, or is that truth that you can't have sushi while you're pregnant? So I'm going to say yes and no. Okay. Yes and no to sushi. Here's what I'm going to say about sushi. Sushi in raw form, no. Okay. No raw fish, no raw meats. No pâtés, no things like that. No raw when you're pregnant, okay? So we're going to say no to the raw sushi. But lots of sushi and lots of rolls that are pretty yummy and tasty are cooked. And so you can go ahead and have sushi. It just can't be the raw form, all right? So you want to look for sushi rolls or some type of sushi that is cooked. And then when you're thinking about that as well, when you're eating your fish or your sushi, you want to think about the mercury levels in there too. Mercury is very prevalent in certain fish, and you need to be careful because mercury is a neurotoxin that when taken into the body, it embeds into your cells, and it does not go away. It does not get excreted. It's a cumulative thing, okay? And so the more that we eat or take into our body in any form, it never actually leaves us. And that can be transferred to your unborn baby. It can be transferred through the milk. It stays in your body forever. So, there's ways to get rid of it, but it's not easy. So you want to make sure that you really limit how much you're taking in because it is cumulative, okay? Here, I forgot to show you, this was foods to avoid. Okay, let's put that up. As long as I'm doing this, I might as well use the technology. So make sure that you're sticking to, a good rule of thumb is to think about fish that, bigger fish, okay, the bigger fish like the swordfish, the tuna, they tend to have more mercury in them than the smaller fish. So smaller fish tend to be much better when it comes to their mercury levels. And the smallest of fish are the healthiest. For example, sardines are one of the best fishes that you can eat. They're very little, teeny tiny. They actually have a lot of omega-3s. They're really, really healthy for you, and they carry almost no mercury in them because they're so small. It's the bigger fish that eat the smaller fish that tend to have more mercury inside of them. And so those are the ones that you're looking to eliminate as much as possible. All right, so go for the smaller fish. And I got to tell you something. I've been eating sardines since I was a little kid. I'm going to tell you a story. Okay, so my grandpa loves sardines. And when we were little, me and my sister used to go to stay with him, my grandma, and he used to, and we were like, 2, 3 years old. And he used to make us little sardine sandwiches, okay? Like he'd get this big Italian bread and then he would cut them. And then he would make us sandwiches. And depending on how old we were, we would each get a sandwich. That means if we were 2, we would get 2 of them. If we were 3, we get 3. If we were 4, we get 4. And he would put sardines on it. And you would think, like, what kid eats sardines? Well, a kid that starts eating sardines at a year old grows up loving sardines. Okay, I only like one brand, and I only like it one way, and that's skinless and boneless in olive oil. What's the brand? Seasons. Okay, I'm gonna plug them right now. Seasons brand, skinless and boneless in olive oil. And I decided to do the same thing with my children. So I started feeding my kids sardines from a very young age. And both my girls eat sardines. And it's actually great because we can pop open a can. We don't eat tuna because of the mercury, which I love tuna, but I don't eat it. And we eat sardines instead. And they're great. They're not really fishy, and they're very, very yummy. So that's my story with the sardines I got to share with you. We love sardines in this house, right, Joe?
Yeah.
Oh, who just said that their toddler eats sardines too? Yeah, try it. Okay, here you go. Seasons. It's the Seasons brand, skinless and boneless with olive oil. Okay, I promise you, you will like it. You will like it. All right. Other questions and things that came up. Is it a myth that you can't have spicy food? Okay. Can you have spicy foods? Can you have beans? Can you have gassy foods? Will that make the baby gassy? Is that going to bring on labor? Is that going to make my baby gassy when I'm breastfeeding? The truth is not really, okay? I know there's going to be people out there who say, oh, forget it. When I eat spicy food, my baby's up all night. And it could be that your baby's reacting to something that you're eating. It's absolutely possible. So I am not going to say that that's not true for you, okay? But in general, spicy foods, beans, things that make you gassy, things that you may upset your stomach don't necessarily transfer to the baby the same way. And if you think about it this way, is that all over the world, they are eating all different foods with lots of spices in it. If you go to India and all over the world, there's spices in the foods, and kids and babies and people who are pregnant or breastfeeding, they're eating all those foods through their entire, pregnancy and afterwards. And those babies, what would they do? Those kids get used to the flavors of the food. And it's true that your breast milk takes on the flavors of the foods that you are ingesting. And that's how children develop taste buds, because their taste buds are actually developing in the womb. Did you guys know that? Did I ever talk about this? Taste buds start to develop in the womb. And the foods that you eat actually start to flavor the amniotic fluid so that they start to get used to your cultural foods and the foods that you eat in your home and that you eat in your family. And then when you breastfeed, your milk starts to take on the flavors of that food, and then the baby gets even more used to that. Even studies have shown that moms who eat a lot of garlic while they're breastfeeding and the milk starts to get flavored in a garlic flavor, babies actually drank more milk when flavored with garlic, and garlic happens to be something very healthy to eat. So that's an actual study that they can that garlic will go through the milk, and actually they've seen it had a very positive effect. So Janine says, my poor daughter, her fluid must have tasted like chocolate. Did you have chocolate amniotic fluid? Me too. Me too. I think there's a lot of us out there. No wonder they like chocolate. We learn it in the womb. All right. Awesome. So here's one to talk about. What about soy? This comes up. Okay. What about soy? What do I do about soy? I'm not a huge fan of soy. Many of you have heard me say that before, that I'm not a big fan of soy, specifically because a few things, all right? A few things is most of the soy that you are going to get is all genetically modified soy. And so I'm going to say for you to stay away from it as much as possible, not only for that reason, but because when you eat soy has a really negative effect on your thyroid gland. And so for so many of you guys, and I know a bunch of you out there, and including myself, who have hypothyroidism or already have issues with our thyroid or autoimmune issues, it can make it really bad. So if you have an existing thyroid condition, you definitely want to avoid soy altogether. But anybody postpartum can develop a thyroid condition. So that's something to watch out for for everybody postpartum, and soy is something to avoid, okay? And I would say that, you know, the only good sources of soy would be like the fermented soy. It would not be from like soy milk or, you know, soy products, okay? So you want to avoid all of that. And also, you know, soy, the other thing about soy too is, you know how have you ever heard that about like women who are menopausal, using soy to increase their estrogen levels, because soy is estrogenic. It actually increases estrogen levels in the body. And so that's something we don't want to do, especially when we're breastfeeding. It's one of the reasons why combined oral contraceptives in breastfeeding can decrease milk supply. So soy can have a negative effect on your milk supply as well if it's increasing estrogen, okay? And yes, tofu is fermented. Tofu is fermented. What about peanut butter? I'm gonna put, let me put some comments up here. Hold on a second. Let me play here. Okay, I'm gonna play. Okay, this is Audra. Hi, Audra. I get to see you and your beautiful child there. Little girl, yes, little girl. Okay, what about peanut butter while you're pregnant? I ate a ton while pregnant. My daughter is allergic to peanuts. Okay, so I don't know how bad your daughter's peanut allergy is right now, but I would assume that, you know, from the new recommendations that are coming out, it is not the exposure to peanuts that will actually cause a worse allergy. And I actually think that the more that she was exposed during the pregnancy actually helped her to not develop the allergy, but maybe make it not as bad. I don't know how bad her allergy is, but you know, they're even talking about small exposures to peanut butter, to peanuts, even in children who are allergic, of course, under medical supervision, to keep on introducing them because they can grow out of it. So these are some of the new recommendations coming out now. I would work with your pediatrician and your allergist to do that, but I don't know how bad the peanut allergy is. I don't think you caused that peanut allergy. Lots of people have allergies that are just, they run in the family. And so that could be the case. If you have a child that has eczema, if you have a child that, you know, shows severe eczema early on, they could be showing signs that they'll have food allergies as well. And those are the ones that you want to talk to your physicians and say, you know, do we want to start introducing early on to start exposing them to some of those foods so that they can start to build up the tolerance to them, okay? Keeping them away from it is not necessarily the right answer. Okay, let's see here. Oh, my favorite, cow's milk. What do you think I'm going to say about that one? Okay, so cow's milk's a really controversial one here. First of all, let's get some hearts. I need a sip. I've got a watermelon drink tonight. For those of you guys who are watching me for the first time, you'll notice that I'm drinking this in my fancy glass because I like to be fancy, but it is not alcohol. This is watermelon tonight. What is it? Oh, it's peach. Yeah, I really like these drinks. You know, is that backwards? I can't tell. Anyway, this one's peach and it's fancy, but it tastes really good and it's not alcohol. I've got my mocktail with all of you. Okay. So, yes, Denine's asking, eczema is related to food allergies. Yes. It's what's happening is you can see that the baby's very reactive, and it doesn't mean that they will have allergies, Denine. It just means that they are more susceptible, higher risk for developing allergies, and something to keep an eye on. Okay. Cow's milk. So I'm going to be doing an entire show just on cow's milk coming up with Dr. Susan Markell. Recently, we did a show with her. She wrote the book, What Your Pediatrician Doesn't Know Can Hurt Your Child. She's a pediatrician. She's amazing. And we're going to, a whole chapter in her book is just dedicated to cow's milk and how it's really not meant for human consumption. That being said, I love my cheese, so I don't cut all dairy out of my diet, but it's really not that good for you, and you don't need it, okay? You really don't need cow's milk. So it's one thing that and if you are going to drink cow's milk, then you definitely want to make sure that that cow's milk is organic, that it is hormone-free, it is steroid-free, it's antibiotic-free, because if it's not, and you're just drinking regular cow's milk, it is loaded with all that stuff. And that's something that I would highly recommend that you avoid. But cow's milk's really very inflammatory in the body. And so it's not necessary. And I know that, you'll listen to recommendations, and it talks about, having a certain amount of glasses of milk per day. It's not necessary. You can get your calcium in much better ways, or you can supplement it. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So now let's see here. Dairy caused my son's eczema. Yeah, it could be that baby was actually allergic to it. Let's move on to one more thing related to foods to avoid. And this is kind of yes and no. Okay. And you guys are going to love this one. Alcohol. Okay. Let's talk about alcohol. What's the deal with alcohol? And let's start with pregnancy, because, it's a different answer for pregnancy than it is for breastfeeding. And you guys have heard me say this in the past, that when you're pregnant, okay, it is important to avoid alcohol. And recently, a couple months ago, I talked about this, and I had somebody come on my wall and talk about how that's not true, and they drink alcohol in Europe, and this and that. And I'm going to stick to my guns here and say to you, no alcohol when you're pregnant. Just do not do it. And here's the reason why. The alcohol is we just don't know how much is too much at the wrong times during the pregnancy. You have a developing fetus at different stages of development going on, and you have a continuous blood connection with that baby. That means there's no interruption, and the alcohol does cross through to the placenta and to the baby. Why would you take a chance? You need to eliminate the alcohol when you're pregnant. Drink your peach drink, okay? I'm doing it. You can do it too. It's just one of those times where you really want to clean out your body of as many medications, drinking, all those other things, at least for that time while you're pregnant. And then once you're done with the pregnancy, is it okay to start introducing alcohol back into your diet if you're breastfeeding? And the answer to that one is yes. So it's a yes-no answer, right? The pregnancy, I'd say no. The breastfeeding, yes, you can. What is it? Okay. And during the breastfeeding, you can drink, okay? But you don't, obviously, you're not going to go get bombed. You're not going to have a ton of drinks, but you can incorporate some wine, a drink, if you time it right. A couple things to keep in mind is that the milk, once you drink, the alcohol does go into the milk, but give it enough time, the alcohol will actually come back out of the milk, okay? So it's a matter of timing. It's a matter of drinking it right after you nursed, or sometimes during the nursing. I used to drink when I was nursing because it was the longest stretch to the next feeding. With those things in mind, you also, there's one other thing to consider, is that smaller babies or younger babies metabolize alcohol and any medications much slower. The half-lives of alcohol or caffeine or anything that you take in is more intensified, and it takes their bodies clear it out much slower. So you've got to take that into consideration as well. If you have a preemie, if you have a newborn, that's going to be really different than if you're talking about a 4-month-old or 6-month-old or a 9-month-old. They clear it out much more rapidly. So I would say that in the first few weeks, I would avoid. Okay, so I would continue on like the pregnancy, avoid for, maybe the first month or two. And then after that, if you want to, you can. Now, will one drink do something? It all depends on how frequently you're feeding. Remember, especially in those early weeks, you're feeding pretty frequently. So it may be hard to time it where you're not actually feeding a newborn and you just had a drink. So I would say try to avoid it if you could. Okay, so I'm going to pop up a question here. Okay, and the question is from Stephanie. A small amount of dark beer to increase supply. I wonder if that is true. So the answer to this is no, it's a myth that alcohol actually increases your supply. There is some information out there to say that possibly the hops in the beer could increase supply, but definitely the alcohol can inhibit your letdown reflex and make it harder for the milk to express. So it really, the answer to that one is a no. Okay, that's a myth. That's a myth. Do you guys like this feature? Joe, how's that looking over there? Isn't that cool? Yeah, I love it. I really love this. I love this feature. I got to bring you guys up onto the screen, and you don't even have to jump in. You could just comment, and I can keep going here. This is awesome. All right, good. So let's move on. We've got more to talk about. Let me get, what? Yes, hearts for Stephanie. Let's give hearts to Stephanie. And her adorable picture, yes. Hearts for Stephanie. There we go. Okay, awesome. So next here we have water. Water, okay? What do we need to know about water when it comes to all of this, okay? Couple things. One for pregnancy, one for breastfeeding, one for your baby, okay? That's what we got for water right now. When you're pregnant, you definitely have an increased water demand on your body, okay? You may be drinking 10 glasses of water a day and you still need more water. Your body is going through so much of it. And part of that, there's reasons why this is happening. And I used to, when I used to take care of pregnant moms as a midwife, you know, they would come in, they'd complain about headaches or some cramping, lots of fatigue, palpitations, all these things. And the first answer would be increase your water intake, okay? Because your body, the demand is so great because you are constantly replenishing. The dog's slipping on here. I'm going to turn down. That you are constantly replenishing amniotic fluid the entire time. So it's a constant replenishment. Where is it getting the fluid for that amniotic fluid? From the water that you're taking in. So that's one thing that it's using it for, that you need a lot of. The second thing is that during the pregnancy, your blood volume is increasing by 50%. So somewhere around between 24 and 28 weeks of pregnancy, your blood volume just increases. And especially at that time is when you'll notice that all of a sudden you feel really short of breath. Anybody who is recognizing this completely and going, oh, I didn't know that was what it was from. You'll feel short of breath. You may feel some palpitations. You may feel extra fatigue. You may feel some headaches or a little bit of crampiness. Of course, you're going to check with your midwife or check with your doctor. But the first thing I would do is to increase your fluids. Even if you're getting 10 glasses a day, increase to 12, okay? And see if that starts to relieve it. The reason that your blood volume increases like that is because your body is smart. It's making extra blood so that you are prepared for delivery, so that if you have blood loss during delivery, you can be okay, okay? You're gonna have a lot more blood. That's a lot more blood. And that will actually come out, it'll actually make you seem like you're a little bit anemic, and some of the signs of anemia are what you're experiencing, but it's what's called a physiological anemia, because it's not true anemia. What it means is that your blood is increased so much that it's become more dilute, okay? So there's more fluid, more plasma than there is blood cells, and so you have anemia, but in a good way. And it was always something that I looked for in all of my patients when I would do their 28-week blood work for gestational diabetes in 24 weeks, and look to see, are they starting to show some signs of physiological anemia? Okay, that's important. That was a sign to tell me that their blood volume was actually increasing and doing exactly what it was supposed to do. So that's a normal thing for you to start to feel some of those symptoms. Water will help. Okay, water will help. Let's move on to breastfeeding with water, because now this is a different story. Will water increase your milk supply? Do you need to drink a lot of water in order to make a lot of milk? The answer to that question is no. Yes, you need to stay hydrated. Yes, the milk is being made from the fluid that you're taking in, so you do need enough water to be hydrated, but overloading yourself with water does not increase your milk supply. And it can have an opposite effect where it actually decreases supply versus increasing it. So you have a negative effect on your milk supply, which is absolutely what you don't want, okay? You want you don't want that. And I saw somebody say, I think it was Kate who said, drink to thirst, okay? That's true. You're drinking to thirst, but I want to say something about drink to thirst because it's something and I use it too all the time, but sometimes you don't feel thirsty even though you need more water. You drink to thirst, meaning you will typically feel pretty thirsty while you're nursing, and you drink to quench that thirst and not over guzzle water. But sometimes thirst can be a very late sign of needing water. Okay, so you want to make sure that maybe every time you sit down to feed the baby, you grab yourself a glass of water and you drink the water. You drink the water while you're nursing so that you get one down. Okay, you get a glass down, and I would check to see that you're hydrated by the color of your urine, maybe more than your thirst. I think that might be a better way to check. If your urine is a very dark, and concentrated, then probably it's not enough, and maybe you're not feeling thirsty. Maybe the fatigue, maybe everything that's going on is just like, killing all your senses, and you're just not aware that you actually need more water. So we want to make sure that you're hydrated. I would say that looking at your urine color, it should be a pale yellow. If it's a pale yellow and it's getting more clear and pale yellow, then at least you're getting enough in. Okay, so yes, drink to thirst, but at the same time, don't rely on that as your only way to tell that you're not making enough, that you're not getting enough. Okay, so everybody's kind of hooked on what I said there about too much water can be a problem. Yeah, so it becomes a problem when you think that, okay, I really want to increase my milk supply, so let me guzzle. Because you'll get this advice from moms and other people on the internet. And this is why it's really important for you guys to show up here, okay? That's why we come to these live streams with me where I can give you good, real advice, okay? That water is not the key to making more milk. Hydration is part of the puzzle that keeps you healthy and enables you to make the milk when you're expressing enough, okay? So the number one thing that's gonna help you make more milk is feeding, okay? Pumping or feeding. That's how you're gonna make more milk. And as long as you've got enough water and you're hydrated, you'll be able to do that. But just sitting around guzzling water, yes, can have a negative effect and decrease the amount of milk that you can make. So you wanna be careful with that, okay? You can't really go wrong if you're just, like Kate said before, like I said before, drink to thirst, and then make sure your urine is pale yellow to clear, and not guzzle for that reason, unless you're that thirsty. Okay, last thing on water. Water for the baby. Does the breastfed baby need extra water? Okay, and this has been a myth that came up frequently. I talk about this all the time. I've posted about this several times. Your breastfed baby does not need extra water, even when it's hot out, okay? It is no calories, it fills them up. Your breast milk is like 98% water, okay? So they're getting all the water they need in your breast milk. And so there's no additional water needed. And actually, it's a negative thing to give them the water. It will fill them up. They will not breastfeed as much. And the breast milk changes, as we always talk about, over time. It changes from it changes from the morning to the night. Maybe they need more hydration in the morning, and so the water content's higher. And then later in the evening, they need more fat to help them sleep better. And the milk is higher in fat and higher in calories, even though it's less volume. On hot days, your breast will start to make milk that is higher water content to keep the baby hydrated. So anyone who tells you that your baby needs additional water when they're breastfed, you can just say, no, I know that is a myth. We don't give breastfed babies water. And that's something to tell the grandmas a lot of times, because it was like an very old wives' tale and myth that they used to do back then. But it shouldn't be done. Ah, my goodness, look at all these comments. Let's get some hearts going across the screen. Let's get some hearts. Yay, look, oh my God. All right, I have a lot more to say. We have a few more things to cover here. So I guess you guys ready? Can you guys hang out for a little bit longer? You want to hang with me for a little bit longer? Because I got more. And then we've got to talk about Lalabu. Let's do that for a minute. Let's talk about the Lalabu Soothe shirt, okay? So this is the Lalabu Soothe shirt. I'm not wearing one, although I am getting one so that I can wear one too. And what this is, it's a tank, okay? It's a nursing tank that comes out nice and low, and you can't see it on the mannequin here, but it comes out nice and low, and the baby goes inside the pocket here, okay? So the baby, it's what's called simple baby wearing. There's a pocket where the baby goes right inside, and then there's a mesh interior. So the baby is really skin to skin with you, up against your body. And yeah, oh my God, you want it? Yeah, I'm gonna post this up here. Hold on, I like your comment here. There you go. Okay, yeah, Joy wants one. Okay, so the Soothe shirt is super easy for carrying your baby up till around 4 months. Kelly's in the chat room. I think it's 15 pounds, if she could just make sure that I'm accurate on that. But the Soothe shirt, what's great about it is even though it's up to about 4 months or 15 pounds, it will actually, it's also a nursing top too. So you can take the baby out, you can nurse with the top on, and then even after the baby outgrows the shirt, you can still use it as a nursing top for the whole rest of the time that you're breastfeeding. So this is the Soothe shirt. And then unfortunately, Joe doesn't have the dad shirt on, but some of you guys saw him last time. I'm going to show you a picture of that. That's the dad shirt. They actually make this awesome shirt just for dads. And it's actually a really cool looking shirt. The fabric's amazing. It comes in different colors and different sizes. And this is such a great thing for dads to be able to bond with, hold the baby, baby wear in a really simple way. The flash giveaway we did the other day was unbelievable. There were so many dads with pictures. Did you guys see that? Was that like so cool? You guys, some of you posted your partners on there, and yeah, I love the dad shirt because there's just not enough good stuff for dads. And I was thinking, I said to Joe, yeah, you loved seeing the, I'm going to post your comment. Hold on a second. We loved seeing Joe in the dad shirt for sure. Hold on. How do I do this now? Now I'm lost here. All right, hold on. I don't know how to hide a comment now. Oh, there it is. Okay. So yeah, getting distracted. Okay, so there's Kelly. There's Kelly from Lalabu. Okay, so I said to Joe earlier, I said, this is such an amazing thing because if I remember when I was pregnant with Jade or Talia, if I had come across one of these, I would have definitely gotten that for Joe. I would have said, oh my God, finally something for him, because there's just so many products for moms and there's not enough great stuff for dads. And Joe wanted to hold the baby and bond with the baby, and it would have been the perfect thing. So where were you, Lalabu, when we needed it? Now Joe's got to wear a doll. Yeah, but we would have loved to have that. And I think it's one of the best things that you can get. And the shirt's really cool too afterwards. They can use it. It doesn't have to have a baby in it to look nice. It's just really nicely fitted and good colors and everything. So that's the Lalabu. And that's going to be our prize tonight too. And the way to win the prize, all you have to do is like or love, because I like love. So if you can love this post and right here on the stream, and then also comment your comments here. Tell me why you love it. Tell me why you want it. But any of your comments here will get you entered into the giveaway to win either your choice. We're going to do a $75 e-card towards the Lalabu website. That means you get to choose whatever you want, $75 e-card. Yay! Hearts for Lalabu. Thank you for the fabulous prize. Yay! Thank you for the fabulous prize. I love you guys so, so much. Okay. Should we move on? Do you guys want to keep going here? We still got people going on here. So I'm going to keep going because there's a few extra things I want to talk about, and I'm going to be a little selective right now about what I want to say. Okay, let's get over to vitamins and supplements for a minute. Okay, couple very key points when it comes to vitamins and supplements. Vitamin D. Let's talk about vitamin D. You want to know about vitamin D? Because this comes up all the time. You guys ask me this question. So vitamin D is actually a very important vitamin. And it's really not a vitamin. It's more, they call it vitamin D, but it's really more of a hormone. And the way that you get vitamin D typically is not through your food, but through your sun exposure. So frequent full exposure to the sun is how you keep your vitamin D levels optimized. Now, how many of us can actually be fully exposed to the sun on a regular basis? Not much. If you live in the winter, if you live in the colder climates, you're not going to have that for many, many months out of the year. And same with your baby, right? So what's the right thing to do when it comes to vitamin D? During pregnancy, I know when I was taking care of pregnant clients, that was part of my prenatal screening to make sure that they had their vitamin D levels checked first prenatal visit to see where they were at to evaluate, because it is it's like epidemic. Literally, it's an epidemic that people have low vitamin D levels below like 20, which is really severely deficient in vitamin D because you're not getting it in your food. And the amount that you would get in a regular supplement, if you just follow the regular RDA guidelines of like 400 units a day, it's nothing. You need multiples of that to keep your vitamin D levels where they should be. So your prenatal vitamin is not going to cut it, all right? Low vitamin D levels can cause preterm labor, they can cause preeclampsia, they can increase your risk of gestational diabetes, low birth weight. Later on in life, having low vitamin D levels can increase your risks of breast cancer, colon cancer. I mean, it's a real issue. This is something, if there was one thing to really stress about checking and making sure that you're getting what you need and that your baby, therefore, is getting what they need, is your vitamin D. So how do you do that? During the pregnancy, you're going to have your vitamin D level checked because vitamin D is a fat-soluble vitamin. And what that means is you can overdose, unlike something like vitamin C, which is a water-soluble vitamin that, you take too much of it and you pee it out. You know what I mean? Like you see it come out. Vitamin D, you can actually overdose. So you have to take the right amount. You need to take large amounts to keep your levels where they need to be. And then you have your blood checked to make sure that you're maintaining at the right optimal level. Typically somewhere between 4,000 to 6,000 international units per day of vitamin D is what you want to be taking to keep your vitamin D levels in an appropriate level for pregnancy. Okay, that's a lot more than what many doctors are prescribing or recommending. But I want you to do your own research on this, just like I just said. Vitamin D Council online has really good information. I like getting it from there, Vitamin D Council. So you can look this up and then you could take it and talk to your practitioner, your doctor, your midwife, whoever it is, have your request to have your levels checked, and then make sure that you're getting enough. And that's typically 4,000 to 6,000 a day during your pregnancy, okay, to keep you healthy. After the pregnancy is over, when you're breastfeeding, the question comes up, do I need to give vitamin D supplements to my breastfed baby? The answer is, if you're severely deficient and you're not taking enough vitamin D, then yeah, your baby's gonna need vitamin D supplements. But if you have your vitamin D levels at an adequate level, like if you were taking 6,000 a day and your levels are high enough, I recommend D3. Okay, they're asking vitamin D3. Okay, so if your levels are high enough and you're taking, when you're breastfeeding, about 6,000 units a day and then also getting it checked, then your baby does not need to be taking extra vitamin D supplementation. And again, just like you, it's a fat soluble vitamin, so you don't want to be giving all that breast milk with the good vitamin D in it because you're taking enough and then supplementing on top of it. More is not better in this case. The best thing to do is to make sure that you're well, right? That you're getting enough vitamin D, and then your breast milk will be perfect for your baby. Perfect for your baby, and your baby needs no vitamins and no supplementation of anything else. And I'm talking no multivitamins, no vitamin D, as long as you're getting enough vitamin D. Okay, does that answer your question? Because I know this comes up very often, and yeah, you want to be taking, and you want to take your multivitamins, that's fine, you should be, but your breastfed baby, as long as you're eating well and you're even, as long, you're going to be fine as long as you're doing well. Your baby's getting everything that they need, and I don't mean perfect, I mean that you're normal healthy. Okay, you're normal healthy, your breast milk is going to be normal healthy. The one thing that it could be deficient in is vitamin D if you're severely depleted, which you're going to take care of now, right? Very, very good. Okay, that was a very good one. And I think that's super important. It's something that everybody should be checking and adjusting. If it's the summer and you're out and you're, getting a lot of sun, maybe you need to decrease the amount that you're taking. You cannot overdose from sun exposure. So if you're getting your vitamin D from the natural way that we were supposed to get it, which is in the sun, you cannot overdose. It's only when you're taking supplementation. Your body shuts down at a certain level when you're getting it through the sun. Okay. Joe's asking the question, and I'm going to post his question right now. Hold on a second. Joe's question's going up, all right? And then you guys can all answer that question because I think that's a good question to answer right now. And let's get some hearts going across the screen because we're going over tonight because we got some more to talk about. Yes. All right. Awesome. Let's see. Everybody kind of knows about folic acid, right? That's one of the very important ones to be taking preconceptually. And again, if you're planning a pregnancy, this is something that you can start doing and you should start doing about 3 months prior to the pregnancy. 400 micrograms per day of folic acid is the recommended amount. But if you have a history in your family of any kind of neural tube defects or an encephaly or anything like that, which is all related, okay, then you want to be taking as much as 1,000 milligrams per day, okay, 1,000 micrograms, sorry, per day of folic acid because you want to take extra if you do have a family history. So this is something that you'll talk to your practitioner about. It's part of the history that you'll go through during your pregnancy in the beginning to look for those family trends to see where you may be more high risk and what you can do about it. Okay, so folic acid, and to continue that through the early part of pregnancy and maintain that folic acid. The other thing too is, what was the other thing I was going to talk about when it comes to, DHA, okay? So the omega-3s, we touched on that a little bit earlier when we were talking about the fish, but DHA is also a very important supplement to be getting when you're pregnant. It's going to help you to maintain a healthy pregnancy. It helps with depression. It helps with avoiding preterm delivery. Like it has a lot of really positive effects on preeclampsia, on lowering your risk of preeclampsia. But it especially helps as you move towards the 3rd trimester and into breastfeeding with your baby because it has a great impact on their visual acuity and their brain development. And so it's something that, is sometimes hard to get in your foods because you may not be eating as much of the oily fishes that you need, but you can take it as a supplement. And it's about 300, I want to just check my notes here because I wrote it down. It's about 300 milligrams a day is for pregnancy and breastfeeding is the right amount. But I want to say something else about DHA because there's multiple sources to get your DHA from. And a lot of people are not aware of this, okay? DHA is a good thing to supplement, but you want to get it from fish source. So the supplement should come from like anchovy, sardine, but mostly anchovy, like low mercury fish to make the supplement, a good DHA supplement comes from low mercury fish, and that's how you want to take it. There is DHA on the market. It's what's the name of it? Martech. The company Martech makes Life DHA, right? Life's DHA from a company called Martech. And I want you to watch out for this. I want you to check your prenatal vitamins. I want you to check. They have it in so many things like kids' foods and in infant formula and also in like pregnancy bars where they say, we have DHA in it. But if you look at it, it's Life's DHA from Martech. And the reason that I don't love Life's DHA from Martech is because it's the way that they make it, it's not from healthy fish oils. It's being made from algae, okay? It's an algae source. So they market it like a vegetarian source of DHA. It's made in a laboratory growing it with algae. But the problem with it is the way that they extract the DHA from it. They're using chemicals that are not super safe and that I would not want to ingest. So, and also that DHA has been known to cause gastrointestinal issues in babies. So sometimes I wonder, babies that are eating infant formula with this Life Martex DHA in it, are they actually reacting to the formula or are they reacting to the DHA? Because a while back they started putting it in all the formulas. So I would really just pay. Yeah, it's kind of an old report, but it's amazing to read. And Joe's going to post it. It was a website. It's a nonprofit website called cornucopia.org. And there's like this 80-page report on DHA and the problems with it. And I think you guys should read it. If you're really interested in learning more about this and understanding it better, then go over to Cornucopia. They still have it listed, I'm sure. And this was years ago. I saw it there. There's a shorter version. They have some videos too. And it'll give you just a really good understanding of what it is that you're taking into your body. When you do find the fish source, okay, to understand which one's a good one, it shouldn't smell fishy. Okay, the fish oil should not smell fishy. If it smells fishy, it's probably rancid, so you want to avoid that. If it's got like a lot of artificial flavors added to it, it's probably to mask the fishy taste, which is probably not a good thing either. So a really good high quality DHA does not smell or taste fishy, and that's the source I would get it from. Great information. I think I'll post that for you. Thank you, Lindsay. I'm glad you're liking this information. You'll have to look at that in your prenatals. Yeah. And speaking of your prenatals, one other thing to think about too is your calcium, okay? Because you do need a lot of calcium. When you're pregnant and breastfeeding, you need upwards of like 1,200 to 1,500 milligrams of calcium a day. And so many times I remember just talking to moms and I would say, are you getting enough calcium? How much calcium you're taking? And the answer was, I take my prenatal. That will not cut it, okay? Prenatal vitamins do not have enough calcium in them. You're going to need to do additional calcium supplementation for yourself and for while you're breastfeeding to make sure that you're taking care of you. Remember, your baby will be okay, but what's going to happen is if you're not getting the calcium that you need, it's going to start breaking down your bones to give that calcium to build your baby and then to feed your baby, okay? So I would say that, make sure that you're getting, in addition to whatever calcium is in your prenatal, which is usually like 200 milligrams, like that's typical. And the reason that happens, if you want to know the truth, and I remember speaking to a drug rep who came into my office, into my medical office once, and I said, why? He was marketing it and he said, our prenatal is the smallest one on the market. Look how small it is. And I said, wow, yeah, because prenatals are usually pretty big. How did you make it so small? And his answer was, we took the calcium out of it because calcium is a big molecule. Okay, well, that's great. All right. And what if mom doesn't realize there's no calcium in it? So yeah, you want to check to make sure that you're getting, 200 milligrams in your prenatals. Yep, exactly, Kate. I'm going to post that right there. Okay. Thank you. You need about 1,200 to 1,500 milligrams a day. So that means you need extra calcium. Okay. And the best way to do that is to supplement with calcium because you don't necessarily want to drink milk, right? And the other thing about that too is you can't take it all at once. If you take all that calcium all at one sitting, you will pee it out. It will not work. It has to be taken throughout the day. So what I would recommend is you take it after your meals. It's best absorbed after your meals. So with each meal, take a 500, maybe 500 milligram calcium supplements, and then your prenatal will give you 1,200 for the day. Okay, great, very, very good, excellent. Fantastic. Was that helpful? Was that so helpful? One last thing. Let's talk about one last thing, okay? Because I had so much prepared for you. Okay, so let's take down this post here. Hold on, because I got to put up the next thing on the list. Let's talk about one more thing. Organic or not, to go organic or to not go organic, okay? What is the answer here? I'm going to say this. Of course, eating organic foods, eating organic fruits and vegetables is always a better answer because it's going to avoid all the pesticides and everything else that's on it. But that's not going to be possible for everybody. It does cost more money. So what do you want to do? What do you want to remember? There are certain fruits and vegetables that are more important to pay attention to have organic. They're called, and you guys have seen these before, probably. It's called the Dirty Dozen, where there's like, and they just coined it that because it's a 12 different fruits and vegetables that are the most highly pesticized fruits and vegetables. So that if you had to choose which ones would I do organic and which ones don't I do organic, these will probably be the ones that I would choose to be organic. And I have a list here that I can read to you, or you can look up, maybe Joe can find a link to Environmental Working Group for the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15. Have you guys heard of that before, the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15? Few of the fruits and vegetables that are on the list for the Dirty Dozen: apples, celery, tomatoes. These are the dirty ones, okay? Cucumbers, grapes, nectarines, peaches, potatoes, spinach, strawberries, blueberries, and sweet bell peppers, okay? And now they're also starting to add in green beans and kale, okay? So those are all, okay? Those are all vegetables and fruits that you want to, if you're going to choose them, then those are the ones that I would focus on having organic. All right, then there's the Clean 15, which means these are the ones that are the safest to have if they're not organic. All right, and that list, I'm going to read it to you, and Joe's posting. Okay, so don't worry. If you didn't get this whole list, don't worry. That one is onions, avocados, sweet corn, but you want to watch out for GMOs with the corn, okay? Pineapple, mango, sweet peas, eggplant, cauliflower, asparagus, kiwi, cabbage, watermelon, grapefruit, sweet potatoes, and honeydew melon. Okay, that's the Clean 15. Did you guys have heard of that? Some of you have and some of you haven't. Okay. It's a little different on the site now. Okay, good. Okay, fantastic. So Joe's going to post the most updated list because it does change over time, you know, depending on how they're growing the produce. But it'll give you a good guideline. And they used to have like a little shopping guide that you can download right there on Environmental Working Group, the link that Joe's going to put up there, so that you guys can take it with you when you're shopping, remind yourself of what to get. If you can't find strawberries that are organic, I would just avoid it. Some of those berries are some of the worst ones, and especially if you're going to feed them to your children, I would just try to find organic in that case. Or stick to the Clean 15 fruits and vegetables. Some of them have much thicker skins too. Pineapples, you can imagine, avocado, things like that. All right. Excellent. And then I'm going to give you one last, I keep saying one last tip, but I'm going to say one more thing because I have to say it. Okay, artificial sweeteners. Please avoid artificial sweeteners in all forms. I really believe that these are very, very bad for us. I don't agree. I think that it does go to the baby. I do think it does cause problems with your health. I don't think that taking these chemicals in any quantity is good for you at all. And I'm talking about aspartame in all of its hidden forms, okay, because they use different terms for it. And I would go online and just look up aspartame and all of its aliases so that you have a list of what they call it, because they try to hide it on you, okay? But aspartame, Splenda, saccharin, all these artificial sweeteners, I would just completely avoid them at all costs. I don't eat them at all. You know, if you want to have some kind of a sweetener that is not sugar, stevia is a good choice, okay? You can use stevia. But other than that, I would not use any of those. Oh, we didn't talk about caffeine. Okay, and that was like the one question. All right, hold on. No, we're not leaving. Okay, hold on. Okay, what about, did we talk about caffeine? We are going to talk about caffeine right now. Okay, so caffeine, do you have to give up your coffee? No, okay, so the answer is yes and no, all right? You can have coffee. The studies are mixed when it comes to pregnancy. So you're going to have to make this choice yourself. Some of the research that is out there has linked caffeine intake preconceptually for both men and women. So it's not just you, but your partner too. Large amounts of caffeine intake to have an increased risk of early miscarriage and infertility issues. So there are some studies that show that. So if you're struggling with that, you may want to consider, both of you, starting to decrease, to cut down on your caffeine intake. And so those same studies do carry over into early pregnancy, where some research has shown that it can increase your large quantities of caffeine. 3 or more cups of coffee per day was associated with a higher increase in pregnancy loss and miscarriage. But then there were studies that showed that it was totally fine to have some caffeine, up to 200 milligrams a day, which is equivalent to about 1.5 8-ounce cups, or like a 12-ounce cup of coffee once a day. This is going to be a personal choice because the studies are conflicting, and you can have some coffee. I think that it's okay to do. Again, if you're struggling and having issues, then maybe you want to completely avoid it. When it comes to breastfeeding, you can have some coffee too while you're breastfeeding. Most babies will do fine with caffeine, but like we talked about earlier, hold on, like we talked about earlier when it came to alcohol, smaller babies, caffeine is a drug. And so smaller babies, younger babies, preemies will have a harder time metabolizing the caffeine out of their systems if it's in the breast milk. So you might see that may be a problem with a younger baby. Signs in the baby would be irritability, not sleeping, fussiness, and then it could take a while for it to come out. So you don't have to give it up completely. I'd start weaning down and take it, on a case-by-case basis. But no, you don't have to completely give up caffeine. But I would keep it to no more than 1 cup a day. Have that 1 cup. And what about tea? Same guidelines as coffee, Esther. Same guidelines. When they looked at the research, they were looking at caffeine in all forms. They were looking at it within coffee, tea, sodas, all of it. So, depends on how much caffeine. There's less caffeine in most of the teas than there are in the coffee. So you may be able to have a little bit more, but they were looking at it across the board. So there's my answer for that. And now it is 20 after 10 and we are still rolling here. And so I'm going to start wrapping it up. Did you guys enjoy tonight? Was this amazing or what? We had this was a great episode. And you know what? We can thank Lalabu for this episode because they asked me, can you do something on food or something like that? And I thought, you know what? We're going to talk about myths. We're going to talk about pregnancy. We're going to talk about breastfeeding and babies. I can't stick to one subject. It all goes together. It's all one big continuum. And I know you're dealing with all of it at the same time. So I hope this was really great information for you. If you loved it, you can love the post and please go share it. Okay. If you have friends that are expecting, if you have friends that are breastfeeding, share this when it's over. It's going to be up on my wall. And this is just good content that lives on. You can come back and watch it too. If I went through something quickly, I know I talk fast. You can come back and rewatch it again. And we're going to do more of this. So I'm going to, like I told you the other day, I would like to we're going to put together some kind of a suggestion box. Okay. Some kind of a virtual suggestion box somewhere. I'll figure it out and I'll post about it. So you guys can give me suggestions for future topics. We are not all, I could talk about a lot of topics in case you haven't figured that out. And I love to, and I love to teach you and I love to bring you as much as possible. So thank you for joining me tonight. I love you all so dearly. We will be back on Saturday night. Okay. Saturday night, don't wait. You got to hear this. Okay. So Saturday night, we have a live stream with Dr. Patrick O'Malley right here, 9 p.m. It's going to be, he's an ER physician, and we are going to be talking all about the most common accidents and injuries that occur in the home that he sees coming through the emergency room. And we have some amazing prizes, a new brand to introduce to all of you with all kinds of safety things, gates and all kinds of stuff. You're going to love it. So look out for the preview, and then I will see you all on Saturday night for that live event, okay? I love you guys. Thank you, Lalabu. Hearts to Lalabu. And make sure you comment here, and we'll pick a winner in the next few days, okay? Mwah. Good night, everybody. Love you. Bye.